Hello, everyone. We welcome you to RigER webinar where we will introduce the latest RigER product, Well Materials Management. During the webinar, you will discover how to streamline the acquisition, storage, and movement of materials essential for the well operations and construction. We'll focus on ensuring materials are available when needed, minimizing costs and avoiding excess inventory through effective procurement, inventory control, storage, material handling, quality and cost control, and materials management. And here is what we will cover today. We will introduce you to RigER Well Material Management, talk about real-time inventory tracking with up-to-date information on material stock levels, locations, and usage, show you purchasing inventory and automations for approval process, discuss allocating materials to wells based on specific needs of each well project, materials and cost adjustments, see how can we track cost of also all costs associated with the materials procurement, storage, transportation, and handling, and finally get to the reports for well material management. And at the end of the webinar, we'll have Q&A session where you will be able to ask questions that you might have, and we'll be happy to answer. And our presenter today is Eugene, our VP of Operations. So hello, Eugene.
Good morning, Dasha. Thank you for the introduction. Hope everybody's doing okay. So let's proceed. Well Materials Management is a new product, as Dasha mentioned. It mainly targeted for the oil and gas operators that dealing with construction of wells and have a need to track materials, everything that goes into essentially creating and constructing the well and putting in production. So, well materials management is focusing on acquisition, storage, movement of material required for well operations. And the primary goals are to ensure that materials are available when needed, with minimized costs and avoid excess inventory via procurement, which we'll talk about in the next few slides. Inventory control, storage and warehousing, material handling, quality control, cost control, all kinds of control related to your materials and equipment, again, required for well construction. So well materials management is the module that can be added as a part of the standard RigER configuration. With that, there's an added ability for purchasing functionality for purchasing all the materials, as well as the maintenance and inspection related to, specialized equipment, or if any materials requires some inspections before installing, all of that can be tracked as well through RigER. So as far as the configuration and the workflow, on this slide, you can see an overview of general workflow for the well materials management. It starts with adding inventory. So that is done through 4 different ways. Purchasing, you can generate purchase order, a bill of lading, or a purchase invoice. Intercompany transfers. So if you have different divisions of your organization, you can always transfer the equipment or materials between those two. Inventory counts, so initial balances. Let's say if you start somewhere where there's an unknown inventory and you do your inventory counts, that can be added to RigER Well Materials Management as well, and then be further down the road tracked through material transfers. And then sub-rentals. So if some of the equipment that you have is rental, you can also track all the paperwork related to that side of operations and add those sub-rentals to your inventory. The second step would be manage your materials and equipment. So their ability to store by location, by category. As people involved in construction know, there are different conditions for your pipe. There's brand new pipe, there's pipe that is in a good condition, slightly used, and so on and so far. So all of those inventories can be, again, tracked and managed. When you do your inventory counts, if everything doesn't match and you need to adjust your balances, there's also ability to do that as well. And then, as I mentioned before, so throughout the process of managing your inventory, if there is any inspection or maintenance is required on either equipment or materials, you can complete that as well. Once the inventory is created, essentially it moves between different departments or facilities and yards, depending how you call them. And already from those yards, physically, they've been transferred to well. And we'll talk about the transfer process on a few slides later down the road. But general idea is that any combination of transferring materials and equipment between departments, wells, well to well, yard to well, well to yard, all of those combinations are possible and are regulated by the material transfer document. And the last but not least, the real-time tracking and reporting. So all this information is flowing through the RigER database, and it can be analyzed and also readily available for you in the form of reports. So you can always generate a well material usage report, which will give you understanding of what is currently on the specific well, from the construction to obviously production stages as well. And then materials and equipment in stock is another great report that we have, which helps you to understand what you currently have in stock on the specific facility or yard. There's another report, and actually, we have a fairly comprehensive portfolio of reports that you can utilize not only for the material transfer but other parts of this function related to purchasing, related to your equipment maintenance. But as far as the material transfer, another third report that we would recommend using is materials movement as well. And it kind of helps you to understand what was moving and where. So going back to adding inventory, there are 4 ways, as I mentioned, to add inventory to your inventory balances. One is purchasing, and as you can see on this slide, whether you're buying consumables, parts, or assets, that inventory, when you're purchasing it, typically regulated by 3 documents. So one is purchase order, which is basically outlines the prices, the vendor that you're going to be purchasing it from. Bill of lading actually helps you to accept the transfer of that inventory from your vendor to your facility, to your inventory. And then the purchase invoice helps you to track all the financial side of this purchase. And so RigER has functionality called Fast Purchase, which is designed to streamline the process of purchases when no approval is needed. So if no approval is needed, the user can generate fast purchase document, which will automatically create purchase order, bill of lading, purchase invoice, and essentially assign that purchase to the inventory. If the approval is needed, and we will talk about the approval process in a few seconds here, but if the approval is needed, then the purchase order is generated, and then depending on how the shipment is being received, whether it's as a one shipment or there's multiple shipments for that purchase order, then the bill of ladings are being generated individually and accordingly, and then the purchase invoice covers the financial side of that. Now, another way is intercompany transfers, as I mentioned. So when you have equipment from a different organizational departments, you can transfer that within the company and that way assign it and have it readily available. Inventory counts is another way, and subrental equipment, which is regulated by subrental agreement, where you can understand the pricing related to the subrental, the vendor. Then you create a ticket, which again, similar to bill of lading, assigns this particular equipment to your inventory. So once inventory is created, again, part of the attributes for that inventory will be condition. You can assign whether it's a new equipment, used, and you can define for yourself what this categories really mean, and you can also set it up to the way it's working currently in your organization. So going to purchase order, on this slide, you can see the typical purchase order layout. We have items or inventory that we're purchasing, whether it's material, consumables, parts, or equipment. Then you have a supplier, all the information and all the details related to the purchase itself, and the purchase order document and the process itself managed through statuses. As some of you may know, the way RigER is designed, all the documents that we have are regulated mostly, especially when there are multiple people involved in managing those documents, through statuses. And so when you have different statuses depending on who handling this document throughout that stage, through that step, the automatic notification can be set up in RigER so that all the parties involved can receive automatic notification related to this particular document, review it, and then essentially approve it. So or reject it depending on what the decision is. So this can be applied to pretty much any status, but most frequently used that we have is open for approval. So you can be notified when the new purchase order is created. You can notify the person who is responsible for reviewing and approving it. So every time it's moved for approval, that person can receive that as well. Again, review it, approve it, and move this process further. So when the inventory is added, we have a pool of materials and equipment that is now distributed by different what we call departments or facilities and yards. This is where your equipment is physically going to be stored. Now, from that point forward, as I mentioned before, the material transfer document assures that the equipment's been basically transferred from one yard or facility to another or well. And so on this slide, you can see that in the moment of transfer, we have two supplemental information that we can regulate throughout this process. One is the market price. So when you purchase your equipment, you purchase it for whatever the cost or the vendor's pricing that you received at the time of the purchasing. Now, when the time comes to transfer that inventory, that stock to a specific well, whether it's pipes or some equipment, you can actually regulate the price based on the current market pricing. And so this will help you to, navigate and help with the accounting side of things. So also we have a materials adjustment document that will, again, help you to understand and calculate the average cost per your equipment, as well as quantities. So all of that we'll talk about in the next few slides. But another big component of managing your materials is that when the well comes to the end of life, and if there's any equipment that can be salvaged, that equipment can also be then deployed back into the inventory. And if it's specialized equipment or something that requires inspection, you can do it through the maintenance process. But if it's ready to be deployed, you can assign it back into the pool of the ready to be deployed inventory and then utilize it somewhere else through those material transfer documents. Okay, so as far as the material transfer, the document itself is pretty straightforward. We have ability to navigate through all your material transfers, and the same again, and most of the documents are designed in a similar way. We have header, where you have the delivering site or the site where all the inventory has been transferred from. And then we have a receiving side, so whether well or facility or yard that has been transferred to. Then you list all the in items that are being transferred, whether it's materials or equipment, you can switch it. So for different type of material transfer or equipment transfer, you will have separate documents. But the most important thing is, as you can see here, we can regulate the market price. And if there are any mistakes or any errors, depending on your permission level, if you're let's say materials management, you can access the cost and make sure that everything's correct, adjusted there as well. So for the material transfer itself, for the reporting side, we have a document that is printable. You can always share that with your colleagues, store it for the record keeping purposes. It gives you a good overview of what was transferred when, where, and all the balances associated with it. Now, to do the material adjustment, we have a special document, materials adjustment. And as you can see on this slide, we have current inventory and costs associated with it. We also have the part of this document that is responsible for adjusting quantities. And for, in the case of tubings, for instance, we have ability to correct primary quantity and secondary quantity. Mainly, this is related to different units of measure. So if you buy a tubing or you buy a pipe, it normally, the prices are in whatever the amount is per foot. But for the inventory counts and for ease of general use, joints being utilized. In this example, we have a few that been utilized in this material adjustment. So basically, the cost associated with those, the number as well, you can adjust through this document. And make sure that your overall information in the system is up to date and is correct. Now, on the reporting side, so as I mentioned, we have all this information beautifully stored in RigER. You can analyze it. There are many reports available. If some of the information is missing, we can always look into adding that information for your organizational needs. But in general, the the frequently used reports that we have is materials and equipment and stock. And so the materials and equipment and stock really gives you the idea for the specific individual department, or for all the departments. You can generate that for your entire company if need be. And the second report that we have is the well material usage report, which is giving you the idea of what went into the specific well throughout the construction stages, when it was assigned, which document assigned this equipment and materials, and cost-related information as well. So you can see here, like the balances and all that is automatically available for you, which is really helpful to understand where you are. I think that's it for just a quick introduction. I can probably speak more and more on the practical details, what it would look, but from the overview standpoint, I think this is a great first intro into well materials management with RigER. I'll pass microphone back to Dasha and be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Eugen. So yes, if you have any questions, you can just type them in Q&A section that you can see in the bottom panel of your Zoom. I'll just wait for a couple of minutes, and yeah, I can see questions coming. So the first one is it possible to integrate RigER well material management system with accounting software, for example, QuickBooks Online?
Okay, great question. And yep, I'm gonna try to navigate back to my beautiful diagram here. So to answer this question, yes, absolutely. RigER has standard integrations, and if we don't have the integration with your ERP or the accounting software, we can look into creating one. But yes, we can For QuickBooks Online, definitely we can integrate it. So all your purchase order, all your invoices, purchase invoices, all the financial details can definitely be integrated with QuickBooks. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty much ready available right now for QuickBooks Online.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I do have another question here. Is there ability to import data from our inventory counts?
Yes. So for the inventory counts, as you hear, we have the document called initial balances, and it can either be created manually from your existing inventory, or you can do a data import as well. You just need to make sure that you have that data available in Excel, and you just upload it. It's fairly straightforward process.
Great, thank you. I don't see any more questions as for now, but anyway, if you have any questions later, you can contact us via email, phone, forms on the website, whichever works best for you. Oh, yeah, I do have one more question, sorry. Can you integrate the inventory with NetSuite?
Again, we will need to look into specifics. We do have integration with NetSuite. I know for a fact that QuickBooks is something that's available. NetSuite, we'll just need to look into specific, but the answer is yes.
Great, thank you. So yeah, uh, that's it for now. For those who are our clients, the recording of the webinar will be available in RigER University by next Monday. Just go to the webinars tab and watch the webinar recording. If you're not our client yet and would like to get the access to the recording, please contact us by email or phone or whichever works best for you, and we'll send it to you. That's it.
Yeah, it's
So much for
2025.
yeah.
Exactly. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today and stay tuned. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.